Thanks for checking out my video. If you want to learn more from me, I have a lot of classes on Udemy. You can find the links to a lot of those in the description.
Hey everybody, so I just got home from work and I thought I'd make a video at the moment. So what I wanted to talk about today is the way that Christianity adapted or hid polytheism. And the way that they did that was by adapting a lot of older deities into saints or demons. So one of the ones that I can think of off the top of my head would be Saint Bridget. You can think of that as the Celtic goddess Bridget. Oh, hey, look at that. Those names match. And then on the demonic side, we have the demon Astarte, who is an iteration of a goddess from, I believe it was Phoenicia, but, you can kind of lump all that stuff in with Mesopotamian gods and goddesses. So the way that Christians, like the Roman Catholic, that kind of stuff, go with saints is saints are seen as intercessors, where if you pray to a saint, then they can carry that prayer up to God, right? Well, if you think about any polytheistic system, then you come to understand that there are different gods in polytheistic systems that all have certain qualities, certain things that they're good at. You can look at the 50 Names of Marduk, where you have one that's really good at metalworking, one that's really good at astrology, one that's really good at war, one that's really good at reconciliation, love, different things like that. I use these all the time in my Magick for Hire spells. If you're interested in one, definitely shoot me an email. Check out the link tree down below for my Magick for Hire Etsy shop, along with my books and my classes and all that other stuff. And so, in a polytheistic system, you have different gods and goddesses that you can call on depending on what you're looking for. House protection, love, rain, fertile crops, abundance, what have you, you name it. Confidence, strength, da-da-da-da-da. Look at any polytheistic system and you will find gods and goddesses that match your desire. They match what you want to do and what you're looking to do, right? Well, same kind of thing with the saints, isn't it? Because, there's a saint for patron saint of lost causes, St. Jude. There's, a patron saint of addiction. There's patron saints of this, that, the other thing, yada, yada, yada. You can look at tons and tons of different saints, and they're all supposed to be patron saint of insert blank here. Well, then you can kind of think of that in the same vein as the patron god or patron goddess of this, that, or the other thing. So, the way that they kind of skirt around this is the whole, they're not gods themselves. They are intercessors. They communicate the prayer up to God because they're really good in that area. And then God will fulfill that wish for you if it is part of God's divine plan. That kind of stuff. But if you have a medal or a picture of a particular saint and whatever, and you're working with them, that is in the same way and same fashion by which we work with gods and goddesses in a polytheistic, magical, or religious system. So Roman Catholic stuff kind of has a habit of taking the deities of other religions and either turning them into good or bad beings by their worldview. And then they say you can work with these guys, and you can work with these guys, but you can't or shouldn't work with these guys. I mean, the demon Baal, which literally means Lord, was a deity that was once worshipped. And of course, I'm probably going to get some comments on here because this happens from time to time where, the only one you should be praying to is God and blah, 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 blah. Well, then if maybe they're of the Protestant view where they believe that, or maybe they're of the hardcore Catholic view or religious view where praying to any of gods and goddesses of other systems, you are praying with demons and praying to demons and whatnot. But there are some of them that they would consider saints that have roots from older religions. And we've seen this all the time where you'll have a church that was built over a sacred site from another religion. Then you have holidays that were taken over and adapted from other religions. Even the day of, and I don't remember the name of this one off the top of my head, but I know that the day of John the Baptist was a particular holiday to venerate a completely different deity at, before Christians were like, oh, hey, this is the day of John the Baptist. Well, it was a day of a different deity before that. You can even argue the same kind of thing with Easter. You can argue the same kind of thing with Christmas. You can argue the same kind of thing with other holidays and whatnot. Those are the ones that pop out off the top of my head. But you find this kind of thing with Christianity adapting things all the time. Even the story of Noah and the flood was a Mesopotamian myth. Even the story of the Garden of Eden was, and I don't remember this one off the top of my head, was the retelling of a different kind of myth. And the clues are all there. The clues are in the writings, and then how you can find earlier echoes of those writings in other societies. The flood myth being one of them, where Enlil did not want to have humans around anymore because they were making too much noise, so he flooded the earth. And then Enki went to, I believe his name was Ziusudra, and was like, hey, I like humans because I made you. Let's build a boat, right? And I watched this really, really great lecture a couple of days ago where, and this is the line I'm going to use, the creation story, and a lot of stories in the Bible, is really a feud between two brothers. That's why let us make man in our image. And then you go with Dr. Michael Heiser's stuff where God is one of many gods, but he's arguably the highest. And then you have other gods below him, and they argue in different things like that. Even the Tower of Babel story, where they were going to build a tower to God, and the gods were all like, hey, if they reached this high, that's a bad thing. So Elohim, God, was like, hey, all of my brethren in the Elohim, the Council of Gods, let's confuse them. You take this group and go over here with this language. You take this group and go over here with this language. You take this group and go over here with this language. All this stuff is from Dr. Michael Heiser, by the way. Definitely look him up. And that echoes, if you read what Zecharia Sitchin's books talk about, with how at a certain point, different Anunnaki were given different areas of land to watch over and take over. And they, Ningizida go to South America. And I believe Inanna went over to Egypt. I really got to dig back into that book. But so if you read all the tablets and all the ancient stories that are older than Hebrew poetry and what makes up the Old Testament, you will find the source material in Mesopotamia. I mean, Abram, who became Abraham, was from the city of Ur, which was in Mesopotamia, right? So he grew up around the whole Chaldean thing where they worshipped a lot of Babylonian, Akkadian, and Assyrian and Sumerian gods, right? And you can trace all of these different things back further into antiquity stuff. All the Mesopotamian gods and whatnot that I have talked about quite a bit. And the way that they take over things is they'll build on sacred sites, or they'll say, oh, your god is really a saint, or your god is really a demon. So, hey, they fall under the branch of our god. So, now that we've taken you over, here's what you do. This is how you worship. This is what you're doing. If you're working with this particular god, what have you, then guess what? That's a saint, but there's someone higher that you have to respect. Da-da-da-da-da. So, is Christianity polytheistic? Well, its practices basically argue polytheism, although they view it as monotheism. And did they come up with all of these ideas on their own? No, they certainly did not. Let me know if you guys liked what I was talking about. Definitely drop a like if you did. Drop a comment if you have any questions, comments, complaints, concerns, issues, or anything else that you would like to say. Definitely let me know if you want me to talk about more stuff like this, because I love this whole contextual history behind religion and spirituality and magic and all that good stuff. So anyways, until next time, good hunting.